Some bolt-action rifles weren't just built for war, they were built to outlive it. Fun fact, the Swiss K31 is so finely made, you can still find the original soldier's name tag under its butt plate. But what makes a military rifle not just functional, but unforgettable? In this video, we'll talk about 10 vintage bolt-action rifles that weren't just standard issue. They were overbuilt, over-engineered, and often decades ahead of their time. From the beastly Mauser Gewehr 98 that shaped battlefield tactics, to the underdog MAS 36 with a bayonet hidden in its stock, these rifles all share one thing: craftsmanship that refuses to die. You'll see Soviet snipers, Swiss straight pulls, Japanese anti-aircraft sights, and rotary magazines smoother than most bolt guns today. Maybe you're a collector, a milsurp shooter, or just someone who appreciates firearms built with care. Regardless, you're going to want to stick around for this one. The Mauser Gewehr 98. The GU 98 changed the entire landscape of bolt-action rifles when Imperial Germany adopted it in 1898. Paul Mauser's design gave German troops an accurate, hard-hitting weapon that stayed in frontline service until the mid-1930s. Chambered in 7.92 by 57 millimeters and weighing about 9 pounds, it had a 29-inch barrel and a 5-round internal magazine. It wasn't a handy trench rifle, yet its long-range precision more than compensated for the extra length. The bolt was notable for its controlled feed claw extractor, 3 locking lugs, and solid feel on every cycle. The 2-stage trigger also helped with precision, while tangent sights let soldiers engage targets up to 2,000 meters away. Countries all over the world took note and either bought or copied the design, and it influenced future legends like the Springfield 1903. The rifle can still be found through auctions, surplus dealers, or collectors' networks, sometimes in modified form. Original specimens with imperial markings often sell in the $800 to $2,000 range, depending on condition and rarity. Swiss K31. The K31 is one of Switzerland's most impressive feats of arms technology, blending the speed of a straight pull system with precision that feels almost like a competition rifle. Developed in 1933 as a successor to the 1911 carbine, it served as Switzerland's mainstay into the late 1950s and beyond. Despite its carbine moniker, it stretches over a meter in length and tips the scale at about 4 kilograms. Using the 7.5 by 55 millimeter GP11 round that's exceptionally flat shooting. Each rifle displays meticulous Swiss workmanship, and it's common to find matching serials on every component. Soldiers often left name tags under the butt plate, which adds personal history when you pick one up in the surplus market. Veterans of Swiss service found their way to civilian hands, sometimes selling for as little as 80 Swiss francs during liquidation phases, though current prices generally run $500 or more, depending on condition. Lee Enfield No. 4 Mk1. The British were pressed hard in World War II, and the No. 4 Mk1 made by Savage under Lend-Lease proved crucial to their survival. Marked U.S. property, it's a .303 British rifle with a 10-round box magazine, 25-inch barrel, and an overall length of around 44.5 inches. The magazine capacity doubled what many contemporary bolt actions carried, giving British troops extra firepower when it mattered. Unlike typical Mauser-based rifles, the Enfield cocks on closing and uses rear locking lugs, resulting in a notably fast action. Savage still managed solid manufacturing standards despite wartime pressures. Their 2-groove barrels were easier to produce, yet provided respectable accuracy. The No. 4 Mk1 remained on the front lines for years, then entered the surplus market in large quantities. Today, most go for $750 to $1,200, depending on condition and accessories. Springfield M1903. Adopted in 1903 by the U.S. Army, the Springfield quickly replaced the older Krag Jorgensen and set a new bar for American military rifles. Its original 30-03 chambering soon shifted to 30-06, giving soldiers a flat trajectory and serious downrange punch. A 24-inch barrel and 5-round internal magazine made it slicker than older designs, and the well-finished receiver gave it a refined look, seldom seen in mass-produced service rifles. Early production rifles even carried a rod bayonet until President Theodore Roosevelt insisted on a sturdier blade type. Despite being officially supplanted by the M1 Garand in 1936, the M1903 soldiered on through World War II in variants like the 1903A3 and the sniper-focused 1903A4. Thousands eventually entered the civilian market via government surplus, and well-preserved versions can still top $1,000 or more at gun shows or auctions. Handling one feels like stepping back into an era where the U.S. was flexing its engineering might in a sleek, perfectly balanced bolt-action platform. Mosin Nagant M9130 Sniper. The Soviets were adept at mass production, but they also knew how to create a lethal long-range tool. The Mosin Nagant M9130 served as the Red Army's standard rifle, and the sniper variant took that design up a notch. Officially adopted around 1942, it uses the potent 7.62 by 54R round, still in service with modern Russian PKM machine guns. A 3.5 power PU scope and bent bolt handle let Soviet marksmen engage targets well beyond normal infantry distances. Roughly 53,000 sniper versions were being churned out annually by mid-war, giving the Soviets an edge on Eastern Front battlefields. Collectors often pay upwards of $1,000 for genuine wartime examples, since the combination of historical value and well-thought-out design holds strong appeal. Many standard Mosins were later turned into replica snipers, but purists prefer rifles that left the factory as real-deal PU snipers. This model reflects the Soviet approach to warfare: straightforward, robust, and surprisingly accurate under hard conditions. Carl Gustaf's M96 Swedish Mauser. Sweden's M96 is a darling among shooters who value accuracy and clean design. Chambered in 6.5 by 55 millimeters, it has a long 29-inch barrel and a two-stage trigger that breaks around 4.75 pounds. Constructed in a time and place removed from the brutal demands of global war, it was made with meticulous care at Carl Gustaf's Stads Gefärs factory. Neutral Sweden used these rifles from 1896 until the shorter M38 replaced them in 1938. Though many M96s stayed in service into the 1950s, they rarely saw combat, so most surplus examples show minimal wear and typically come with matching numbers. The 6.5 by 55 millimeter round is known for mild recoil and flat trajectories, and the rifle handles it beautifully. Surplus batches arrived in the U.S. from the 50s onward, and they remain a popular choice among shooters who love classic Mauser actions. Many can be found in the $600 to $800 range, but unique variants or pristine ones bring higher prices. Arisaka Type 99. Japan introduced the Type 99 in 1939, chambering it in a 7.7 by 58 millimeter for a stronger punch than the older 6.5 Arisaka. It served as Japan's standard infantry rifle through World War II, produced in multiple configurations like short rifles, snipers, and paratroop variants. Early production rifles featured top-quality machining, chrome-lined bores, and a resilient lacquer finish known as urashi. The detail protected the stock in steamy climates, showing how much thought went into the design. The action drew from Mauser principles, but added a large bolt safety that required a palm twist to engage. The rear sight often included anti-aircraft wings, an unusual design element that showed Japan's emphasis on combined arms warfare. Many rifles ended up stateside as war trophies, and the ones that still bear the intact Imperial chrysanthemum on the receiver are especially treasured. Prices range from about $500 to over $1,200 for rarer examples. Mannlicher Skonauer Model 1903. Steyer's Mannlicher Skonauer, originally built for the Greek army in 1903, merges old-world elegance with real-world performance. It uses a clever rotary spool magazine by Otto Skonauer, feeding 5 rounds of 6.5 by 54 millimeter MS in a remarkably smooth manner. This cartridge, famed for its deep penetration, appealed not just to military forces, but also to legendary hunters, like Karamojo Bell, who used it on elephants. The action traces its roots back to the Gower 88, but was carefully refined to operate smoothly under harsh conditions. Greece was its only major military adopter, but post-war sporting versions found a dedicated following among big game enthusiasts. Steyr continued producing them with top-quality materials and tight tolerances until 1972, leading to high manufacturing cost but impeccable performance. Well-preserved or sporting variants regularly run over $1,000, especially if they retain original markings. VZ-24 Czech Mauser. Built in the interwar period, the VZ-24 from Czechoslovakia brought refined Mauser performance at a time when militaries around the globe were rebuilding. Zbrojovka Brno took the Geyer 98 concept and shortened it for easier handling, chambering it primarily in 7.92 by 57 mm. It features a straightforward bolt with a straight handle, a tangent rear sight, and exceptional fit and finish. Many countries from Romania to China adopted or imported it, while Germany itself used seized stocks under the label Gauer 24. These rifles were turned out with pride, and even the export contract showed high standards of machining and woodwork. The result is a surplus rifle that often shoots better than expected, especially if it hasn't been abused. Price